Jeff Atwood from Stack Overflow has a post on his blog called "Performance is a Feature." He wrote this a very long time ago and it's stuck with me ever since. And it's never been more true today because we have got blisteringly fast hardware, but apps have never been slower. Lag and bloat is everywhere and you kind of get used to it and that becomes the norm. And if you've ever used a really fast app, it can be shocking sometimes. And every time you get an app with poor performance, that was a choice, either directly or indirectly, because somewhere along the way you made a choice to do something that caused your app to have poor performance. And last video we talked about the fact that we should code for legacy status, and that's very important here as well because performance in apps only ever goes down, not up, when they're left to their own devices. Some common objections that I hear about writing apps that have high performance is some people say that not every app has to be blazingly fast, or they might say my app doesn't need to be fast, but how many apps have performance problems over their entire life? Most of them do, and it's nice to use fast apps. Some people try to say that hardware is cheap, so you can just throw more hardware at it, but cloud bills run up very quickly. Some people are spending, $20,000, $30,000 a month and their apps aren't even that big. And it's really easy to write code that is slower than any hardware can run it quickly. Some people say that's why you've got caching layers, but you might not ever need a caching layer if your code was fast in the first place. And caching is just more money you've got to spend in the cloud. Some other people say, we'll worry about that when we get more customers. They're admitting that performance matters, but they don't care about it right now, which means they're more than happy to spend an awful lot of money up later than spend just the tiniest bit of time at the beginning making sure you get performance right. Here I've installed a popular CA template and I'll just add a few records to get it warmed up and settled into its natural position. Get a feel for the latency in general as we're going. And I'll just clear that and we'll start again. And we're getting between 14 at best, 35 at worst milliseconds as we use it. And here I've got a basic app that I've just simplified, and I'll just warm this one up as well. And let's just say that'll do the job. I'll just add and edit a couple of records here and delete. Basically in this app I am getting between 2 and 5 millisecond latency. The idea of this is just to give you a feel for the percentage differences we've got. So it's, depending on how you look at it, it's anywhere from 5 to 10 times better latency on this one. I've just started running a bunch of integration tests. It takes a moment to build the database, deploy it to the local DB, but then everything else runs fully integrated. As you can see, it runs fairly quickly all up, and you can basically write as many integration tests as you like, and it doesn't impact your workflow. You can run them, get a coffee, come back, and it's done. You can have it in your pipeline as a gate before a pull request, and it's not going to impact your deployments. For a basic app comparison, they both did all the same fundamental stuff in terms of auth, validation, and they both used the same DB instance on my machine here. However, my app did way more fundamental things in terms of I had larger objects, it had GUIDs in there, it had foreign keys, it had concurrency checks, it was multi-tenanted, and every single request had a role-based DB check to make sure that the current user could perform the action they should be able to do based on the roles they were assigned within the app. And all I did to make it faster was just only put in the things that absolutely had to be there. And I wasn't even using CQRS patterns there, so commands were sending back data, and yet it was still factors times faster. The other thing about my app is it has about half the heap and working set as the other one, and the CA app, it bogs down when it gets load, and I have a load testing video coming up as well. Your app doesn't need to have the same low latency, but it is just a figure to show you the spectrum, the range of how an app can be very, very low latency if you want, or it can be much higher latency, and you need to be able to make an informed decision. So you need to be able to test this yourself so you know the range of possibilities that an app can have in terms of performance. And if you've never tested it, you have no idea if your app is relatively fast or slow. So when performance is a feature, you can start on a lower cloud plan and you can stay there for longer because you can handle more load before you have to scale up or out. Users have a much better time on your system. They can perform more actions per minute. They don't get distracted. They don't get split attention because they're never waiting, so they get pulled out from where they are. Developers have a better time. It's fast to start up. It's easy to use. The integration tests run quickly. You can have as many integration tests as you want. You can have it in your pipeline as a gate. And when it is fast from the database down, you expose every single performance problem that you would otherwise have but ignored if something up the chain was slow. Well, have yourself a really good time performance testing and have a good day.